this video may be tough to watch. It has been viewed more than 10 million times, a story that has received a whole lot of attention and a lot of you reacting on our PIX11 Facebook page. A young man arrested by police in Canarsie. His family says officers used excessive force. Police also responding. We'll get to that, but this morning we are joined by Fitzroy Gayle, his mother Daphne Gayle, as well as Reverend Kevin McCall from the National Action Network, and attorney Sanford Rubinstein. So I first want to let everybody know that Fitzroy cannot actually speak about what happened or about the case that you guys are presenting moving forward. But I do want to ask you first and foremost, which you can answer, is how you are feeling this morning after all of this.
Honestly, not so well.
And I think a lot of people can understand why. So Mrs. Gayle, I want to start with you first and to explain what people are watching in this video. What were happening in the moments prior to that?
Okay, you know, I was home. And my daughter called me and she told me that, you know, her brother is on Facebook and, you know, what was going on with the cops, because I didn't know. I'm trying to call my son. I could not get him, no phone, with calls returned, nothing. And I was wondering, and then my daughter called me from Florida and she said, Mom, you know, we saw it on the Facebook that, you know, the police officer in New York is abusing my brother and stuff like that. So I'm like, I didn't know that because my son's supposed to come home to go to another job with FedEx. And, you know, 12:30 he was not home.
And you know, Reverend, leading up to the incident right here, we saw the beginning of the video where he is actually saying to the officer, what did I do? What exactly happened? The NYPD is saying there were reports of shots fired in the neighborhood, and that's what they were actually going after. What is your understanding of what was actually happening in that moment?
Well, we at the Crisis Action Center, we determined, based on the phone calls that we got from the family, we looked at the video and we saw what was happening, and we was like, this is bizarre. It doesn't make no sense how in 21st century that police officers supposed to be community police relations, and there's nothing that's connected to that. These officers was out of control. They looked like they were coming from the zoo.
He's a plainclothes officer who does not actually identify himself, or at least we don't hear it in the video.
At all. He doesn't, and the officer's name is Officer David Off. He was the one that was off the chain by abusing him, by stopping him in the first place, and then you see officers just plumbing him down. We called for the district attorney to be able to get involved because we don't trust the police department, because the police department have been policing the police and it goes nowhere. So we called on the district attorney to do the proper investigation.
So I can see there's a lot of emotion here from Fitzroy himself. Sanford, what were his rights in that specific moment when he's asking, what am I charged with?
Clearly, this is an example of stop and frisk gone bad. They had no reason to detain him, and then when all these other officers come charging at him, one of them stumps on his ankle. This is unacceptable. These are police officers out of control. And this isn't the first time in this city this has happened. Recently, we have other incidents where large numbers of police officers jump on someone, stomp on them. But unacceptable.
In this specific incident, what was it? When was the moment that it turned violent? When the officers came running? And was there a resist to the arrest that was actually happening?
No resistance to the arrest. And when the officers came running, he was doing nothing wrong. He's an innocent victim.
It turned violent when the police actually stopped him for supposedly smoking marijuana in the park, which is illegal in New York City.
So the police commissioner had come out and said that there were individuals that were seen running from that park and that he was actually one of those individuals that was running. I know it's difficult to talk about with him sitting right here. Did he actually run from the park?
He didn't run. He didn't run at all. The park and where the incident happened is literally right across the street from each other. So he didn't run, nor did his friend run. He was asking with his hands up, he asked the police officer what I'm being charged with, why I don't give you consent to be able to search me. He asked these things, and they still violated his rights by stopping him. They wasn't supposed to stop him. He wasn't supposed to get an arrest ticket, a summons, anything. In 2015, they don't arrest you for more. So why they give it? The police are violating the law.
There is a decriminalization of marijuana. I do want to get to what the police commissioner said yesterday and then get your reaction.
At this point in time, I have nothing to indicate that they were in any way tied to the ShotSpotter incident, but I certainly don't know that the officers didn't know that as they were arriving on that scene.
And then the mayor had gone on to talk about de-escalation tactics and training. When he was in custody, was he given the opportunity to call a lawyer, to call his mother?
So when he was in custody, I got the call from a family member all the way from Florida, and he was in custody when he got arrested. It took me to 2:30, and the mother can attest to that, because she was in the precinct, her and her other son. And it took me making noise in the precinct to get him released. He'd been in the precinct for 12 hours, and they wouldn't release him. So if he didn't do anything and they charged him with they were not supposed to make arrests, why are they doing it? The mayor and the police commissioner is talking two double standards, because if you're not supposed to make an arrest on marijuana while he's arrested, and on top of that, if the mayor want to send a clear message, fire this police officer. If you want to send a complaint, let them send a clear message in this city that we will not tolerate this. Not as disturbing, not as just something we just look at and we got to see and what it looked like. No, fire these police officers.
And they are saying there is an investigation moving forward, but they have not gone as far as taking those officers and putting them on a suspension right now.
What's really important here is the district attorney is going to do an independent investigation. Once that independent investigation is concluded, we want these officers not just fired, but charged criminally for what they did.
And that's what you hope to do moving forward.
That is correct.
And for you, Daphne, here, I want to ask you, you compared this yesterday to Eric Garner.
Absolutely. Yes, because, you know, I look at the video and I saw my son, and it just reflect back what happened to Mr. Garner. It was like, is the same actual thing happen again? And I was so frustrated, like, my God, this is my son. This should not be happening.
And to be very clear here, just to pinpoint one more thing, was there any marijuana found?
No, that's not even in evidence. And when he goes to court, it's going to be dismissed. They're not supposed to do arrests. So for the marijuana, so why charge him with it? So it's bogus charges. When the police beat you up, they charge you with obstruction of governmental administration, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. They do these charges because they want to just hold you and detain you like he's a criminal. And he's not a criminal. He's a hard-working student. He works 2 jobs.
Never been in trouble before.
Never been in trouble before.
Good kid.
So why is this happening? They got the wrong kid. This is not a thug. This has got the wrong kid, and they're gonna pay for that. And we going to continue to do it. That's why on Saturday, and we are marching from the playground to the precinct. We're having Know Your Rights training next week to be able to train young people on what to do when you stop by the police. And we're telling people, don't just know what you're doing, but take out your phone and record, because that's the best thing you can do now.
Which is what we saw with that individual who was on the street who did not know Fitzroy here, who happened to be walking by and see this. I'm going to give you the last word here. Have you had that conversation with your son growing up about what to do when interacting with the police?
I did. I spoke to them all the time. I said, if the cops pull you over, just obey. Listen, whatever they tell you to do, just comply. Always do that. Never speak back, never do. Just comply with what they want you to do. I've been telling them from they were this age, because I've seen it happening. Like, you know, the more you obey and you comply, you have a better chance of, you know, put your things together.
We can see that obviously there's emotion here.
And when I watched the tape, I was like, thank you, God, because probably if I didn't taught them the way, he would probably go out there and act different way. As you look at the video, he was just asking. I did not do nothing. The officer did not respond and say nothing.
With his hands
So
out.
I taught them, whatever the officer said to you, make sure you do what they said.
All right, I appreciate all 4 of you coming in today and sharing your side of the story. We will stay on top of this story, and hopefully we stay in contact with you every step of the way as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.